Scott Brown here, channel update. So I thought this episode would be a great chance to talk about what we plan to do this year, renovation wise, on the house, what we plan to do beyond that, and the fact that we have a overseas trip planned this year that we're working on, and we might need some advice from you. Just a general channel update.
This pizza's really nice.
Oh yeah.
If I do say so myself.
So we just got back from a trip down to central Otago, down to Wanaka. We were staying at a friend's house. And the reason we're staying there is because they have a pet golden retriever that they wanted us to look after. What up, Mitch? A good boy called Mitch. That was lovely. We were there for 5 nights and we used that opportunity to explore the area and drive down via Arthur's Pass, which is something we've never done before. And that was amazing, right?
It was all amazing. So beautiful.
We went down via the west coast as well.
Mm.
And I think that's got a special place in our hearts and minds now.
I think it might be one of my favourite parts of New Zealand, actually.
So wild. Like,
so beautiful.
When you look out at the beach of the west coast, next stop is Australia. And if you're not familiar with this part of the world, Australia is actually quite far away from New Zealand. We're not a ferry ride away, as a lot of people think. I think we worked out that the distance from here to Australia is bigger than the width of Australia. Is that right?
No.
Or is it the other way around?
I once flown over Australia for like 7 hours.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah, no,
Forget
Australia
I
is
said that.
huge. No,
It's really far.
what's the equivalent in Europe?
Yeah, it's a few countries away. We have a bit of a complex down in New Zealand. Everyone thinks we're a small country, but we're actually bigger than the UK, slightly smaller than Italy. But we often get left off maps.
So from the UK, you could get to Puglia in Italy or Thassos in Greece for less than 4 hours. So that's closer. The UK is closer to Greece than New Zealand is to Australia.
All that ocean is smashing against the west coast, so it's this rugged, beautiful, high energy area.
Ocean, beach, amazing rainforest, snowy mountains.
Yeah.
It's everything.
The west coast is up and around the corner, and there's actually a campground out that way that we went to with Ray, friend of the channel of course, and Magda, who is our architect as well. And we camped with them on this beautiful west coast campground, and that was kind of the start of the trip.
It was amazing. Incredible weather, incredible swims. I'm struggling with being back actually.
Yeah, we just got back pretty much.
Yeah, it doesn't always feel like we take enough breaks from work and from the house. We've found it really hard this last year to relax at home because home is also where we work.
Yeah.
We're either looking at all the jobs that need to be done or how we could turn it into a video, or we're talking about work, or just stuff to do around the house or the garden. There's just this constant to-do list.
We almost have to get out of the house in order to relax.
Yeah, I really struggled with that this last year. This trip, there was this one point where I looked at Scott and said, wow, I just feel completely relaxed. I can't really remember the last time I felt that.
It was probably a good 3 days out of the house before that happened,
4 days,
right?
Took 4 days.
Yeah, before that feeling kicked in. And which is funny because we love the house and we love the lifestyle that this YouTube channel has allowed us to have. But there's always a downside, right? And that's our downside. So we got to figure it out. So the start of last year, the start of 2023, we made a very ambitious goal. In this exciting episode, we're going to talk about how we're going to finish this renovation before the end of the year.
Aim high!
So if we actually look at how that year turned out, didn't quite get there. We have one half of the house to do still. But we did do the living room and we did the kitchen, and that's all looking amazing, and the room feels awesome.
Well, yeah, you also have to remember that it wasn't just time that limited us, it was also funds. We're paying for all ourselves and we could only pay for so much, so we could only do what we could afford. So it was a combination of, it's majority just you, me, sometimes Ray. We're trying to not take on any more debt. So unfortunately, and we're living in it, and we're running a business, and we're trying to keep the money coming in, and the admin that comes with that. There's only so many hours in the day and in the week.
I think
You know?
I might struggle more with the amount of renovation that's completed than you, maybe, because I'm so used to renovating other people's houses. So this is probably the slowest renovation I've ever done, because I don't have all those resources that Jess said, right? I don't have the money to pay a bunch of builders and all these subcontractors to be there one day after the other. We have to kind of pace things out a bit more.
You also weren't in control of the money. You didn't have to also think about how to bring in the money to pay for the renovation. Well,
that's where you come in.
Job. Right, but we also do it together. As much as I'd love to just sign Scott up to everything, he might struggle when he's doing an ad for manscaping or something.
That would be a hard one to segue in.
Maybe next time you upset me.
So this is a good segue into what we plan to do this year. The next stage of the job is all this area here, the south part of the house, which is down here in the southern hemisphere is the cold part of the house. So we've got the kitchen and that is no longer needed, so we're turning it into a bedroom, which is great. We're turning it from a 3-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom house. There's a lot to remove here, so that's going to be like the first job. And then as you come out of the new bedroom, you've got your living that we're done over there, and then you've got this entrance which we've already started working on. So we've got this toilet, and we've got this entrance, and we've got this new bedroom. And we've also got this laundry. Now all those things need to be done this year before we even think about starting the bathroom, which is an upgrade of this tiny wee bathroom here. Shower, basin, mirror. And then that means this toilet here will have to be removed in order to make this bathroom a lot bigger. Hence the reason we're building another toilet here. So that's the basic plan for the year. Sort all this out. Oh, and after the bathroom, in this corner here, is the office, which, because we just arrived home after our trip, it's a total mess. If we do get further than I think, if we do the bathroom and all that kind of stuff, and we've still got time, I'd love to do this office. Because this is where I make all these videos, so I spend hours every week here. It'd be nice to have it all laid out perfectly. We bump into subscribers from time to time. We bumped into quite a few over the summer break, and one of the questions that come up often, and it comes up in the comments as well, is what are we planning to do after this renovation? And are we taking on work outside of the house? The short answer is not yet. Because we literally have holes in the walls, we want to get the house a bit more closed in, because the energy that our heat pump creates and all the other things in the house is just literally going out the window, and that costs a lot. So we don't want to put a pause on a renovation that is at this stage.
Our winter power bill last year, when we had some holes in the walls, by which I mean the external cladding's still there, but all the chip, etc. was gone. The worst was $400. We need to close up that envelope. That's the priority. But then outside of that, it'd be really cool to have something that gets us out of the house, to be fair. The truth is, despite the stresses that can come from always working at home and kind of documenting our life, we have a pretty sweet deal, which I think a lot of you have figured out, and we'll be the first to admit it. To be able to wake up every day and decide how we want to work, what we want to do. It's not to say we don't do a lot of work, but being able to choose it and not have someone else necessarily dictate it is a massive privilege. But then again, if a really awesome job came along that was different and we're really excited about it, I think we would change our minds.
Yeah, the rule was always, would it make a good video? And then we'll like entertain it.
That's what you ask. I also say, will it pay the bills? But this is why we work well together. Somebody asked, how do we stop water from getting on the fronts of the cabinets in the kitchen? And the answer is we don't. I spilt so much water down the front cabinets the other day, and I was home alone. I freaked out. Just pure panic. Like paper towels, tea towels everywhere on the ground, trying to like mop it up. I was so worried you'd come home and be like, what have you done?
Well, I like that you told me about it, even though you didn't have to.
Well, I was kind of laughing while I was freaking out at the same time, because I realised how ridiculous it was. So we have built ourselves something kind of precious, which is for a workspace. Yeah. But I love it, so.
It's so nice. We've really enjoyed using the kitchen. Speaking of kitchens, are you looking forward to helping me demolish the old one?
Oh, I'm so looking forward to demolishing. That's really the only thing I can do when it comes to building. The rest of it, I don't have the skill or the patience. I prefer the fluidity of gardening. But I really like demo. Demo's fun. You just get to smash walls, within reason obviously. You don't want to smash like a live cable, but
No.
I check with you first, can I smash this hole? You say yes, and then I go for it. It's really stress relief.
Garden, how's the garden going?
Oh, we're in such a drought right now. A lot of it's looking beautiful, but a lot has died. It's been a little hard actually to see. I can't water the whole thing.
Your baby.
And we've had water restrictions as well, so I'm not allowed to water it all the time. There's actually fires in the region at the moment. As we were driving back up from the west coast, we just saw the smoke from the Lee Valley because of how dry everything is. So yeah, the garden is still gorgeous, but I've had to let go of a lot.
Can you catch this?
Oh, I can do that, you know. No, I can do it.
Right. Oh, can you catch my one?
Probably not. Again.
Yeah.
We're like a
traveling circus
performance. One could argue performing in front of a camera every week is much like a circus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
a
God.
couple of circus stars.
Oh no, I spilled my drink.
The big thing that we want to do this year, and we're already starting to make plans for it, is Japan. We want to travel to Japan, make a couple of carpentry related videos while we're there. We don't know how long it's going to be. Right now we're thinking a short amount of time, maybe 3 to 4 weeks at a push. But it all depends on what we plan to do, because we haven't booked the tickets. We're trying to figure out what we're actually going to do while we're there and then plan it from there. Jess and I met traveling, so traveling is a big part of our relationship, and that's what we did for the first 5 years of it. And then we came home, started the business, started the YouTube channel, and we hadn't left for 7 years until Sydney
last year.
just a few months ago.
For you, not 7 years is just gone.
Gone by.
And I am worried that if we're not careful, the next 7 years will go by even faster. So
We're just making it happen. So even though we've got this expensive renovation happening and we want to close on the house like we said, we're taking the risk. And we're going to aim for May, but maybe after the winter. We'll see how our finances go. So if anybody watching knows anything about Japan or has any advice, any tool shops that they can tell me about?
yeah, when we were talking about a budget, Scott's like, oh, well, we need a separate budget for my tools. What about my budget for my food?
Feel free to read the comment section here, Jess.
Does anyone have any suggestions of like food tours that I can do while Scott's pottering around doing carpentry?
Why don't you do a pottery course? Speaking of pottery.
A pottery course and like a food tour.
See, that means we'd have to go a bit longer.
How are we ever going to afford this?
Are we ever going to go to Japan?
Yes, we are.
I almost forgot. As of this month, February 2024, I've been building for 20 years. Imagine that.
What's like the qualification to be a master? You know, there are some trades, maybe even in Japan actually, where in order to be considered a master, you have to have done X amount of hours. Do you know what it is?
No.
Have you done it?
I hope so.
Maybe not.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Is that a thing we can Google?
Maybe it's different in every country though. I don't know if there is one in New Zealand.
How many hours to be a master?
Well, while you're figuring that out, I started in February of 2004, walked onto my first construction site. A digger went flying over my head. I didn't even see it. My dad had to tell me the following day and said, you walked in and that digger nearly hit you in the head. And that was my day one of building. I've been doing it ever since. So I wanted to do a video, I'll probably do one this month, just talking about some of the things I've learned over that period. But yeah, 20 years.
10,000 hours. That's how long it takes to master your craft, according to best-selling author Malcolm Gladwell.
That's 5 years, give or take. That's your apprenticeship. And I did not master my craft by the end of my apprenticeship.
Do you think you've mastered it now?
No, I don't think you ever master it.
Tell that to Malcolm.
Malcolm, you're a liar.
Scott.
The other question that we get a lot is, how is Paito? He's good. He actually had to get another surgery because one of the bands in his feet broke. They put metal bands in there as part of the recovery and it broke before it was all healed. So he had to get another surgery, which sucked. But I feel bad even saying this because Paito is a very private person and we like to respect that. Yeah. So knowing Paito, he'll just pop up in a video one day and that's how you'll see him again. But he is very thankful for all the help that some of you gave him, and I've heard from his family members the same thing. They've privately thanked us and for mentioning it on the channel.
Not that we did anything.
Not that we did anything, we were just a conduit to you guys.
You guys are the ones who raised, it was $100,000.
Yeah,
Which is like when you are unable to do your job and you're worried about losing your home. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think he'll ever truly be able to express how grateful he is.
Now, if you enjoyed more candid things like this video, we do things like this on Patreon every so often. So check that out in the description below. We also do like sort of project updates, photos, things like that.
Ask for your advice.
Yeah, Q&As. And we're definitely going to do a lot more of that this year as well. So check it out in the description below if you want to support us.